Good morning, and welcome to the Africa Weekly Talk. Today's subject on the docket is Naija law, the Nigerian legal system and its implications on the citizens of Nigeria, as well as how this legal system is applied also to the citizens of Nigeria accordingly. But today's subject has to do with three legal issues that have been in the news quite recently. And the first one has to do with a young lady by the name of Chioma Okoli. Chioma Okoli's Facebook review post of Erisco's food about their sugar content of their tomato mix also landed her in jail and has her in some serious legal issues. And the second one has to do with Bobrisky, the famous Nigerian cross-dresser, who also pleaded guilty to defacing and spraying the Naira notes in public. And the third one has to do with the Kogi State former governor, Yaya Bello, who is also alleged to have embezzled about 20 billion Naira and is currently wanted and facing arrest by the EFCC of Nigeria. But all these three legal issues are intertwined in the legal system of Nigeria, but are dealt with or handled accordingly in different ways. But first of all, let's go ahead and hear the first sit-down interview of Chioma Okoli with the Arise News about her situation, and I'll come back and dissect this whole issue. So let's go ahead and hear what Chioma Okoli had to say with her first sit-down interview that she did with Arise News, and I'll come back and dissect this whole issue. Let's hear what she had to say. Let's hear what Chioma Okoli has to say.
In recent events, the arrest of Chioma Okoli, a young wife and mother of Erisco Foods, has brought attention to the potential abuse of Section 24 of the Cyber Crimes Act in Nigeria. Chioma found herself in police custody after a Facebook post she shared saying she found Erisco Foods tomato paste too sugary. Erisco Foods Limited, a prominent player in the Nigerian food industry, allegedly responded with both legal and illegal action. She has been sued for defamation, but also arrested for crimes under Section 24 of the Cyber Crimes Act. The constitutionality of Section 24 of the Cyber Crime Act has been called into question, and some argue that it contradicts Section 39 of the same Constitution, which provides that every person shall be entitled to freedom of expression, including freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart ideas and information about without interference. The National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, has said the federal government is reviewing the act. In the meantime, ordinary Nigerians such as Chioma Okoli are being arrested under a section that was deemed unlawful and unjust by the ECOWAS Court of Justice in July 2020. Adesua Giwa Saigi Akoli here went digging, and here is a special report.
In September of 2023, after attending a program at a church in the Ogudu area of Lagos State, Chioma Okoli, a young mother, was apprehended by members of the Nigerian police force. She was subsequently detained and arrested. Her purported crime, a social media post she had shared on her Facebook page a few days earlier, expressing dissatisfaction with the taste of a tin tomato mix she had purchased.
So when I opened the Nagico tomato mix, I tasted it. The sugar content was much.
The product in question, known as Nagico tomato mix, is manufactured by Erisco Foods Limited, whose CEO, Chief Eric Umofia, lodged a complaint with the Inspector General of Police of Nigeria, alleging that Ms. Okoli was the ringleader of a criminal syndicate aiming to sabotage his company.
She's simple evil in my own judgment, and it cannot be allowed. If she have good intention, she will have proven her case by bringing the sample. If she's not a customer, then There is not that there is some, there is police to report to, there is a federal concern position unit. She didn't do all these things before she go online.
I don't belong to any syndicate. If there is one, let every mafia say the name.
She is now facing charges under Section 24(1) of the Cybercrimes Act of 2015. Chioma Okoli sits and bravely shares her harrowing experience for the first time.
Do you normally do reviews?
That is your first time doing a review on Facebook. Were you afraid?
Very.
When you were in the police station?
Because of my kids. And I've also heard stories of people going and so after the question and answer section, they now say they are waiting for a call from above. Because my husband was like, are we free to go now? They said no. They are waiting for their calls from above. After some like 5 minutes, they said there's a problem that the order from above says they should collect my phone. So I had to give them my phone, and they said that I am not going. It worked out. So my husband now went after them to talk with them to know if it's something that we can go, come back maybe tomorrow. They just walked to the woman on duty, said, throw her into cell. So, because I was the only female, there was no female person, so it was only me inside the cell. There was only inside there, so it was just me, so I was inside there. So my brother now sent a lawyer to come. So when the lawyer now came, they called me out again. So the lawyer said he has already talked to them, and they said that the order is from the IGP, that there's nothing they can do about it. So the lawyer said I should just calm down that tomorrow, so that they will know what to do by tomorrow. So we stayed there, couldn't sleep. We also were really because it rained heavily that day. I was basically standing, my legs were inside the water. I prayed. I talked to myself. You know, there's still seeing people, I don't know. Mosquitoes. It is a lot.
So, fellows, you just heard this young lady be thrown into jail by a well-connected businessman, a crony capitalist, just because she had a Facebook review post of this man's company's products, which happens to be tomato mix. That this young lady, after tasting it, found the sugar content of this product to be too high. And we're talking about health issue, my fellow brothers and sisters. That's what we are talking about. We are talking about an issue involving health. And this is what she did. She just posted the high sugar content of this tomato mix. And her postings led to her arrest by this IGP or the Nigerian police because of this businessman, well-connected man. I mean, I have to call this the Tomato Republic. I mean, I know you guys know about the Banana Republic. I mean, Banana Republic was coined by the famous writer O. Henry in 1904 with regards to Honduras banana industry and its corrupt dictatorial government around that time. So that's how the term Banana Republic. But I call this the Tomato Republic. The Tomato Republic because you're talking about a corrupt legal system in a country that can have a connected businessman just snap a finger to the Inspector General of Police and have a young lady arrested just because he didn't like the post and the review by that young lady. I mean, what else is it going to be? In what world of a country with rule of law can a businessman have a citizen arrested just because they don't like the post? I mean, I get it. He thinks that this woman did that maliciously to destroy his company. Well, there are legal processes to go through. If that's what he really believes, like he said in the interview, all you have to do is first file a civil lawsuit and then file a complaint with the Food and Drug Administration of Nigeria for them to investigate if this woman is behind any criminal enterprise to destroy his company. And if that is the case, that is what is going to happen after the investigation. The criminal charges and so on will be filed against this young woman. But you can tell clearly, this is not about malicious act by this young woman. This is the modern day we live in, fellas. I mean, people review things online every damn day in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And companies even have sites where people go and review things just to see what is going on and how to market their products to their fellow citizens. But this businessman, because he thinks he's well connected, didn't like the post. So decided to use the kangaroo courts and laws of the Tomato Republic of Nigeria to go after this young lady. Just for writing a review post on Facebook. I mean, come on, fellas. Give me a break. And unfortunately, the IGP and the other big shots, so-called big shots in the police department, they didn't have the sense to advise this well-connected man that maybe you have to take a different route. But because they are all corrupt, you see, when you live in a legal system that is run by a bunch of corrupt politicians, this is what happens. Because the rule of law doesn't exist in that system. I'm sorry to say it. I've been saying this in most of my videos. I've been saying this and continue to say it, and I stand by it. Most of these countries in Africa, almost all these African countries and governments are all corrupt. There are no rule of laws down there. They use the legal system to their own benefits and go after things they don't like and their opponents. That's what they do. And this is a clear example of abuse of power. There's no way a country with the real rule of law will do that to any person, let alone a young lady. No country with rule of law will do that to its fellow citizens. I'm sorry. I mean, how in the world you're going to go arrest and throw a young woman in jail just because of a Facebook post? Yes, you have a legal framework, you have a legal system, you have your laws and everything, so-called cybercrime laws and so on and so forth. Yes, you have all of them. But at the end of the day, every case has to be looked on by case basis. And then you make decisions on how to file these charges if somebody breaks the law. But you don't use these laws to go after ordinary citizens just because a well-connected citizen who has been lining your pockets with money, doesn't like something that a citizen has posted on Facebook. So you go and arrest this young lady and throw her in jail. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. It is unfortunate, but that is the reality of most African citizens deal with their governments in these various African countries. It is sad, but that's the reality. That's the reality. That's what I've been saying. I continue to say. Unfortunately, when you have these kind of governments and these systems, I mean, talk about these kind of legal systems in your various African countries, how in the world are you ever going to develop? How in the world are you guys ever going to develop when you have these corrupt legal systems in your various African countries? I'm sorry. All you're going to see in Nigeria is very, very wealthy people like they have. A majority of your citizens are going to be poor and poor and poor. Because the legal systems of a country is intertwined with the economic as well as the democratic system. It works hand in hand. And when you have a legal system that is only used in favor of the well-connected against the weak and the less connected in society, that will never help a country develop. And that is what you have in most of your countries in Africa, in Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Kenya, Ethiopia, and so on and so forth. So basically what you guys are going to have, you're going to have a system where basically you're going to have a well-connected businessmen continue to be rich and rich and rich at the expense of your poor fellow citizens in your various African countries. Because your legal systems alone will not even give the citizens, ordinary citizens, the opportunity to advance in anything in your various countries. And why am I talking about this? I'm talking about because it is linked together. Because when you have a system that suppresses the views of its fellow citizens, that also goes to hinder development in a society. That is what it does. It hinders development. Because when you don't have your citizens able to come out and express their views for the citizens and the public of your country to know what is going on, that will never help a country to develop. And this is what is going to happen. And this is what has been happening. This is what has been hampering the development of Africa. And it will continue to hamper. You're going to have these very well-to-do, connected, rich guys in your various countries, like Nigeria has. Very wealthy guys. But you look at the majority of the people, very, very, very poor. Very, very, very poor. Because this is the kind of system that you have developed. And this is the kind of system that also will never enable economic development or uplifting of your citizens in any area in terms of economic development. And that is what happens when you have well-connected businessmen use the system in your various countries to their advantage and to suppress the point of view of citizens just because they believe that they can call the IGP, they can call the president, they can call the governor of a country just because they have connections to them. So they tell them what to do. And these corrupt politicians who are no good and have no better interest for the citizens of their various countries will do whatever these guys ask of them. And that is apparently exactly what the IGP did. Because like I said, if the IGP has senses, he would have thought about this and realized this was a bad deal for him to get involved in. Because at the end of the day, even if you believe that this woman did this act maliciously to hurt your company, there are so many avenues to use. All you have to do is call the woman in and ask her about why she thinks and her review about your product is like that. And then move on from there. If you believe that it was done maliciously, then you file a civil lawsuit against her. And then file a criminal complaint with the necessary authorities. And then the authorities will also handle that criminal complaint according to the rule of law. And gradually, if they come to believe that this thing was done maliciously or was organized by a criminal gang or whatever, like he's alleging, then the criminal authorities will also take this into consideration and file the necessary charges against her. But you don't throw her into jail, harass her, just because you have connections to the higher ups in that country. And that is what basically this dude did. And he should be ashamed of himself. As a matter of fact, I mean, looking at this whole issue, I mean, looking at it from a PR standpoint, what good was it for him even to make this a big issue just because of a one post by an ordinary citizen? Are you kidding me? I mean, this dude is not even smart from a PR standpoint. Because, I mean, you have created more headache for your company than anything would have that this woman did would have done to your company. Because right now, I mean, I'm sitting in the United States hearing about this with people from various parts of the world also hearing about a woman being arrested and thrown into jail for a Facebook review of a tomato paste or tomato mix. Are you kidding me? So now Nigeria becomes like a laughing stock around the world, arresting a young lady over a Facebook post of tomato mix. That's what we are talking about. That's why I call it Tomato Republic. I mean, this is not a banana republic. This is a tomato republic. They should be ashamed of themselves. And then going back to look at what has been going on for the past few months, talking about Bobrisky, the cross-dresser, who was also arrested, but he eventually pleaded guilty for spraying of the naira. I mean, you're talking about serious economic problems and corruption going on in the country. I mean, you talk about serious economic problems, hardships by its citizens. And then you have the legal system going after issues that have nothing to do with solving the problems of that country, but rather harassing citizens. I mean, I understand. I mean, he pleaded guilty. I mean, and it's according to the law of Nigeria, he was wrong. And I get it. Go after people who break the law. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no qualms about that. But you have other serious corrupt systems that are operating in that country that is overlooked by these various legal authorities in that country. That is what I have a problem with. I mean, talking about the third phase of this program today, about the former governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello. Just last week, the EFCC surrounded this man's house in Abuja. And according to all the news networks, they had a warrant to arrest this man who is alleged to have embezzled over 80 billion naira as a former governor of Kogi State. We talk about 80 billion naira. And they couldn't arrest this man because they said, allegedly, the current governor of Kogi State went in there and sneaked this man through the back door of the house. I don't know if it's true or not. But if EFCC had gone to the residence of a man that they claim they have a warrant for them to arrest him and couldn't arrest him, that tells you exactly what kind of legal system you have in your country, my brothers and sisters. That tells you exactly what kind of legal system you have in your country. I mean, a man that is alleged to have embezzled over $80 billion is sneaked out by the current governor of Kogi State and is now a wanted man. But somehow, you are able to arrest a young lady for posting her review concerning the health issues of a tomato mix in terms of the sugar content. You can arrest that young woman, but you cannot arrest a man that you claim you have a warrant for embezzling over 80 billion naira. I mean, money that could have been used to help develop that state. Talking about building hospitals, roads, schools, taking care of young children in that state. You couldn't arrest that man. That man could not be arrested, but you were able to arrest a young lady for a Facebook post over high sugar content of tomato mix. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, are we serious in these countries in Africa? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, you have a system that basically they use it based on who they are going after. But when the most serious issues crop up, that they have to use this system to go after things that will benefit the country as a whole, then they turn a blind eye. And you, the citizens, are the ones who have to stand up to these issues. Because at the end of the day, if you're talking about building a democracy, then you, the citizens, have to start standing up against these corrupt politicians in your various African countries. You have to challenge this status quo in your various countries. Because like I stated earlier, it works hand in hand. Economic as well as democracy and political systems work hand in hand. If you don't have rule of law in your various African countries, Nigeria in particular right now, that's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. If you don't have rule of law, you can never build a great economic system. I mean, these rich guys in Nigeria, they know about it, they should know about it. Because rule of law covers businesses as well as the whole general population of a country. Rule of law is not just for the citizens of a country. It doesn't separate citizens from the legal ramifications of a business. It covers every aspect of a country. So able to build a better economic system, rule of law has to work both in the business sector as well as the general public economic system. You cannot separate it. But unfortunately, when you have a corrupt system, this is what happens. In the corrupt system, this is what happens. The well-connected pay bribes, able to do what they want at the expense of the less connected. And when you do that, it also hampers development in your country. And that is why, unfortunately, if we Africans cannot see that and hold our governments accountable, we are not going anywhere in terms of development. Europe, we ain't going nowhere. You're going to have the same systems you have, like you see right now. Very wealthy people, and majority of people are going to be goddamn poor and living under these horrible infrastructures and conditions in your various African countries. That is what is going to happen. As far as you don't challenge the status quo and fight against your corrupt systems, that is what is going to happen. You're going to see all these nice glass buildings with very wealthy men living in very wealthy neighborhoods and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, majority of you people are still going to be living in these kind of horrible conditions in your various African countries. That's what is going to happen. It is unfortunate for this young lady to go through this. But that is the system. That is the system that you guys have built. This tomato republic system. I mean, where the rule of law doesn't work. It only works for those who are well connected. Now, this has to stop. And if you guys can stand up and challenge the status quo in your various countries, maybe one day things will change. But not until that. I'm sorry. Africa's development will always be hindered by this high level of corruption in your various African countries. It is very unfortunate, but that's the reality that you guys will be dealing with unless you guys stand up against these so-called corrupt leaders of your various African countries. So fellas, it is unfortunate to hear this sad story from this young lady. And I hope that the authorities will come and look at this whole situation and deal with it accordingly. I'm not against the rule of law in terms of when somebody breaks the law, how the system have to deal with it, and so on and so on. I'm in all favor of that. But at the end of the day, also, that same system has to be applied equally. You don't pick and choose who gets to be prosecuted just because someone is connected and the other person is not connected. No, you cannot have it both ways. If you're going after people for breaking the law, it has to be equal opportunity for everybody, not just for the well-connected against the less connected. So guys, if it's Sunday, it's the Africa Weekly Talk. God bless you guys and have a great week. Thanks and peace and love.